I was in my late 70s when I stopped going to the cemetery. People expected a reason that sounded clean: acceptance, peace, closure. The truth was smaller and uglier. I had run out of believable grief. Not grief itself, just the version of it that looked appropriate to other people. I still kept my daughter's scarf in a drawer. I still carried her last voicemail on an old phone I couldn't throw away. Some mornings, I still woke with my hand reaching to the other side of the bed, like loss was a habit my body refused to break. Then, on a Sunday afternoon, I pushed my cart past the produce and saw my dead daughter choosing apples with the patience of someone who had a future. I didn't run. I didn't say her name. I didn't even breathe correctly. I just stood there and watched her hands, waiting for my mind to correct itself, waiting for reality to snap back into the shape I could survive. It didn't. And the first thought that rose in me wasn't joy. It was a cold, humiliating certainty. If she's alive, she chose to be gone. That was the moment the morning became something else, because grief can be carried. Betrayal has teeth, and I hadn't seen the worst of it yet. I had buried Clara without saying goodbye. That wasn't how anyone described it, but it was what happened. After the accident, there was no viewing. There were official voices and polite explanations, and the kind of language that turns a human being into a finished case. I accepted it because I was exhausted, and because compliance is what I had trained myself to do when something unbearable appeared. My son Ben drove me home with his hand set firm on the wheel, as if steering could keep the world from tilting. My husband Martin sat beside him in a silence that made me resent him. Martin had always been good at silence. It let him feel blameless without lifting a finger. In our kitchen, people spoke softly and brought food I didn't taste. Neighbors touched my arm like I was fragile glass. One woman cried louder than I did, and I remember watching her and feeling only irritation. That irritated me too. I learned to perform the right face. I also learned something useful. Grief made people stop asking questions. A few days after the funeral, the phone rang. A man's voice, calm, unhurried, asked for me by name. "You're Clara's mother," he said. "Yes." "She owed money." I told him he had the wrong person. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, "Tell Ben I called," and hung up. When Ben came by later, I repeated the message. His reaction was too controlled, the way someone reacts when they have rehearsed being calm. "You knew," I said. He looked down at the counter. "Not everything." "Did Clara tell you?" He swallowed. "No, but I saw enough to know she was scared." That night, in the envelope of Clara's effects, I found a second phone, cheap, scratched, tucked beneath her scarf as if she had tried to keep it close without leaving it behind. Ben saw it and went still. "Mom," he said, low and urgent, "don't turn it on." I turned it on anyway. There was one saved contact, Mara, and I understood, in a slow, sick way, that my daughter's real life had been running alongside mine without touching it. That realization should have broken me. Instead, it made me angry, because anger is easier than admitting you were never invited in the first place. And I was about to call the one person she trusted more than me. Mara answered on the third ring. Her voice was controlled in a way that didn't sound cruel. It sounded practiced. "I'm Clara's mother," I said. A pause, then a quiet exhale. "I wondered when you'd find this." My throat tightened. "Who are you?" "I'm the person she called when she couldn't call you." The line landed clean, not dramatic, and it hurt exactly because it was true. I sat at the kitchen table with the receiver pressed too hard to my ear. Martin was in the next room, the television loud, still managing to be absent even inside the house. "She's gone," I said, hating how formal it sounded. "I know what you were told," Mara replied, "and I know what you're trying to ask." "Is she?" I couldn't finish. Mara didn't give me what I wanted. She gave me something sharper. Clara didn't trust many people, she said. She trusted me. That doesn't mean you get to step into her life now. She's my daughter, I said, the way mothers say it when they want ownership to stand in for intimacy. She was your daughter, Mara corrected softly. That relationship ended long before the accident. Heat climbed into my face. You don't know me. I know what she said, Mara replied. I know what she didn't say, but implied. I know she had bruises. She refused to explain. My breath stopped. I wanted to argue, to demand proof, to insist that my home was safe, but my mind betrayed me with memories. Clara flinching at sudden movements, Clara going quiet when Martin's voice turned sharp, Clara staring at the floor when I told her to stop being dramatic. Mara continued, almost gentle. Ben knew more than you think. My grip tightened. Ben? A pause. He tried to help her, in his way. When I hung up, my hands were trembling, not from grief, not from fear, from the sickening realization that my son had been standing at the edge of my daughter's secret life, and I hadn't noticed. Ben came over the next day. I didn't offer coffee. I didn't pretend. You spoke to her, I said. His eyes narrowed. To who? Mara, I said. Clara's Mara. His shoulders lowered a fraction. I told you not to turn it on. Did you know she was alive? The word alive tasted wrong in my mouth. No, he said quickly. Too quickly. Did you know she was in trouble? He hesitated. The hesitation was the answer. What did you do? I asked. He looked away. I tried to help her leave. Leave what? He didn't answer at first. Then he said, quietly, leave us. I waited for him to soften it, to take it back, to wrap it in something kinder. He didn't. That was when I built my first lie to survive. I told myself the woman in the grocery store wasn't Clara. Grief can make faces out of strangers. Longing can put familiar posture onto anyone with the right shoulders. I collected reasons like they were medicine. Clara had a small scar on her chin. Maybe I hadn't seen it. Clara hated fluorescent lighting. Maybe she'd changed. Clara was restless. Maybe this woman only looked calm from far away. That lie gave me sleep. For a few nights, I could breathe again. And then I went back to the store on another Sunday afternoon, supposedly for milk, and the lie collapsed in front of me, because she was there again. And this time, she wasn't alone. A boy stood beside her, holding a box of cereal, speaking quietly as if he was telling her something important. She listened the way Clara used to listen to children, not indulgent, not amused, respectful, attentive. She said, without looking at him, "Not that one. Too sweet." The boy shrugged and put it back. It wasn't the sentence that convinced me. It was the tone. Clara used to speak like that when she meant it. Outside, in the parking lot, she loaded groceries into a car, opened the back door for the boy, and then turned. Her eyes met mine. I waited for shock, for recognition, for the smallest sign of emotion. She looked at me the way you look at a stranger who might cause a scene. Then she looked away. She got into the driver's seat and drove off like I was nothing more than a smudge on glass. My knees went weak, not because I was old, because my daughter had recognized me and chosen to erase me with her eyes. And I finally understood. This wasn't an accident I had witnessed. It was a decision I had been sentenced to. And Ben's "leave it alone" suddenly sounded like a warning, not advice. I went home and sat in the dark without turning on a lamp. Martin had been dead for years by then. He left this world the way he lived in our family, sudden, unquestioned, and somehow still taking up space, even after he was gone. Ben called that evening. I let it ring long enough to punish him, then answered. "You sound strange," he said. "I saw her," I replied. Silence, a small shift on the line. "You didn't." Ben said flatly. I did, I repeated. In the grocery store, with a child. His breath left him slowly. Mom. Stop, I said. Don't do that thing where you speak to me like I'm fragile. He didn't argue. That was how I knew this was real. You know, I said. He didn't deny it. He just said, leave it alone. The calmness in his voice made something in me snap. You let me mourn, I said. You watched me fall apart. I watched you survive, he replied, and his tone hardened. You weren't eating. You weren't sleeping. You were turning into someone else. Because my daughter was dead. Because you thought she was, he said. I closed my eyes. The room felt too small. Did you help her fake it? I asked. No, Ben said sharply. I didn't help her die. That's not what I asked. Silence again. Then, quietly, I helped her disappear. The admission landed with a weight that changed the air. I felt betrayal, yes, but beneath it was something worse. Recognition. Ben had always been the child who managed the family temperature. He smoothed conflict. He carried secrets like they were groceries. Heavy, necessary, never mentioned. She came to me before it happened, he said. She said if she didn't leave clean, she'd be dragged back. Dragged by who? I demanded. He paused too long, then answered carefully. By the version of herself that only existed in this family. It sounded like accusation wrapped in poetry. What did I do to her? I asked, and my voice was smaller than I wanted. Ben's next words were not poetic. They were blunt. You loved her like she was a mirror, he said. When she stopped reflecting what you needed, you treated her like she was broken. I wanted to deny it. My pride reached for the familiar defenses. I sacrificed, I worked, I kept a home, I did my best. But denial felt childish in the dark. Tell me the truth, I said. All of it. He took a breath. Then he said the revelation that cracked the story open, late enough to hurt, not late enough to be cruel. You signed the papers, he said. My stomach tightened. What papers? The documents the lawyer brought after the funeral, Ben replied. You didn't read them. I stared at the wall, suddenly seeing that day with ugly clarity. The pen, the quick explanations, my nodding head, my relief at not having to look too closely at anything that might make it messier. I didn't know, I whispered. You didn't want to know, Ben said. My throat burned. You're saying I helped it happen. I'm saying you helped make it clean, he replied. You chose the easy story. A deeper cold moved through me. The child, I said, voice shaking despite my effort. Is he? Ben cut in gently, almost as if he hated the sentence too. Yes. My hand pressed against my mouth, not to stop a sob. There wasn't one. To stop myself from making a sound that would turn this into performance. She has a son, I said. She has a life, Ben corrected. And she doesn't want you in it. Because of me, I whispered. Because of what you would do with it, he said. Because you'd claim him. You'd make him proof you were still important. The truth of that stung because I recognized it. Even now, my first instinct had been possession. Ben continued, slower. She wasn't hiding from some stranger. She wasn't running from a dramatic villain. Then what was she running from? I asked. He answered with a single word that embarrassed me with its accuracy. Being managed. Managed. I had managed Clara's clothes, managed her friends, managed her anger, managed what she was allowed to remember about our home. I called it guidance. I called it love. And then I had managed her death into a story that didn't ask too much of me. Ben's voice tightened. If you go after her, you'll lose me. It wasn't a threat. It was a boundary. I believed him. And I hated myself for needing that consequence to understand restraint, because at last I understood what my choices had bought me. Silence, an empty house, a living daughter who had learned to survive without me, and a grandson who didn't even know my name. And still, I wasn't done learning what I had earned. I didn't call the police. I didn't hire anyone. I didn't storm into that grocery store demanding an explanation. I did something quieter, and in some ways, worse. I wrote her a letter. Not a message, not an email. A letter, the way people write when they want control over timing, over tone, over interruptions. I kept it short, because long apologies can be another kind of theft. I wrote, "I saw you. I won't follow you. I won't expose you. I want to know if you're safe. If you ever choose to speak, I will listen." Then I added a line that revealed I was still fighting my own instincts. "I miss your son." It wasn't a lie, but it was possessive. I sealed it and gave it to Mara, because Mara agreed, reluctantly, to pass it on if my daughter allowed it. Days passed with no answer, then more days. The silence became its own punishment, because it forced me to sit with my real role in this story. Not the wounded mother, not the tragic heroine, just a woman facing the consequences of how she loved. Then Mara called. "She got your letter," Mara said. My heart jumped, then settled into a hard beat. "And?" "She said you did one thing right," Mara replied. "You didn't chase." I exhaled slowly. "Will she talk to me?" Mara paused. "Not because she misses you, because she wants to close something." "What does she want?" I asked. "She wants you to admit what you did," Mara said. "Not the big dramatic version, the daily version, the version that made leaving feel like breathing." "I can do that," I said, and I meant it. Mara's voice stayed calm. "And she wants you to stop calling her Clara." My throat tightened. "What is her name?" "Mara," she said simply. I sat very still. My daughter had taken the name of the woman who helped her disappear, not as a tribute, as a replacement. A few days later, I received a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. Her voice was older than the one in my memory, steadier, sharpened by practice. "You saw me," she said. "You didn't cause a scene. That matters." A pause. "My son doesn't know you exist," she continued. "That isn't negotiable." I didn't move. Then came the sentence I deserved. "You didn't lose me in the accident," she said. "You lost me before that. The accident just made it clean." I sat down on the kitchen floor because my legs stopped cooperating with denial. Her message ended with a final instruction, not a plea. "If you want to talk," she said, "start by telling Ben the truth about why you signed without reading." The line went dead. I stayed on the floor in the quiet house, phone warm in my hand, feeling a strange clarity. Grief had been heavy, but it had made me sympathetic. This was lighter and sharper. This was responsibility. The next day, I told Ben the truth without polishing it. I told him I had chosen the easy story because it protected me from the harder one, that Clara had been living beside me, shrinking, and I had called it love. Ben listened without interrupting. When I finished, he nodded once, like someone closing a file. "I needed you to say that a long time ago," he said. "I know," I replied. "I don't know if I'll ever sit across from my daughter and speak like two adults who aren't fighting for control. I don't know if I'll ever see my grandson's face again. I don't even know if the name Clara belongs to anyone now. But I know this. I mourned my daughter for a decade, and somehow that mourning was easier than admitting the kind of mother I had been. And there's one more confession I haven't told Ben yet. One last piece that would explain why I signed so quickly. I didn't just fail to read the papers. I recognized a sentence in them and chose to look away.